Hello, welcome. My name is Christy Coromandel. I am a demonstrator here in Outback, Australia. This week, as you know, we've been talking all about layers. So this is the card we're going to create today, and I'm going to talk you through it as we create our layers. We've got 3 layers. It's all you really need. We have our card base, which is layer number 1. Layer number 2 is our mat, and layer number 3 is our focal element right here as well. So let's get started, and at the end I'm going to show you some other examples of how you can layer your projects. So let's do all of our stamping first. So I do have a piece of white cardstock. I am working with the Happy Hibiscus stamp set today. I love these little florals. We have some coordinating dies that go along with this as well. Let me grab those and show you. Here they are, right? So let's get started with our stamping. So I've got some white cardstock here and I already have my flower image already mounted. So I'm going to use Petuna Pop, which is one of my favorite purples. We'll stamp this one first. And then I'm just going to clean that off. And then my next flower image, I'm going to use the same stamp, but we're going to stamp it now in crushed curry. So then next we're going to fill in the gap. So there are some solid stamps. This is a 2-step stamping project. I am just using the medium flower for this one for my crushed curry. So I'm stamping it into my ink. I'm going to stamp it off onto some scrap first before I come here and then stamp it onto my flower image. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my Petuna Pop. But this time we're going to use the larger flower. And you can, of course, go in and stamp the middle section for all your flowers. But I just needed these 2 for this project. So I'm actually only going to colour in these 2. So let's continue on with our stamping. I've got another piece of scrap right here. We're going to stamp our greeting. Then we're going to do all our die cutting at the same time as well. So my greeting comes from the exact same stamp set and I'm inking this up in Coastal Cabana. Okay, and now it's time to do all our die cutting. So our flower image here has this one die here that cuts them all 3 of our flowers out at the same time. So I'm going to do that for both of those. And then my greeting, I've got this little circle image, so I'm going to cut that out as well. So I'm going to do all the die cutting and then we'll be back. Okay, all the elements have been cut out. So I have my little flowers here. I've also gone ahead and die cut some leaves in Granny Apple Green and Lemon Lime Twist, and have these little flowers here in Mellow Mumbo and Petuna Pop as well. So let's go ahead and start assembling our card. And like with anything, the first thing you're going to start with is your actual card base. So I have my card base here made out of thick white cardstock. Now, one thing that I like to do is I use thick white cardstock because it's thick and it holds the card better with all the layers that we're actually going to be adding to it. Now, and also because on the inside then you can write on it and it's going to be white and easy to write as well. And so therefore, if I want to change the color of my card base, I will put another color over the top as opposed to creating my whole card base out of this color here. So I have Berry Burst here and I'm going to add that as my first layer, or as my part of my card base itself. So this is what we call layer number 1. It's great in our card base. There we go. There's layer number 1. Now the next easiest part is to layer by reducing the size by 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 centimeter. So I've actually gone here and deducted 1/4 of an inch and I've created my card mat here, which is out of white cardstock. And then I've gone and got some pattern paper and I've actually made this slightly smaller than my card base to make it pop. Now if I didn't have the white there and I just used my pattern paper, this is a great little mat and border itself, but you'll just see by having that white card next to it, or having that mat of that white, it just makes this background pop a little bit more. And this is where, by adding just a simple layer, is enhancing your design itself. So let's add this layer right here to our matted piece so we can make this piece pop. And I'm actually going to build on here first before we assemble it onto here. So I'm going to move this aside. So what next we need to do is make sure which side are we going to have this up or front. I decided I'm going to have my blue up the top here to make it more look like sky, and here's like my little grass kind of thing. And now it's time for us to layer our focal element. Now there's multiple different ways we can actually do this, and I'm just simply creating a cluster of images right here. So I'm just basically placing them down, working out where best they might fit. And this is just, I just like to place it all out first before I actually adhere it all down. And I'm just going to add my little flowers in here just to frame this off a bit. I'm going to add some ribbon to the back of my greeting. So let's do that first. I'm just simply adding some adhesive and I'm just crossing it back and forth on the back. So it looks something like this. And then I can trim that down so I'm not creating any waste. So that's why I usually like to do it on the roll itself. Okay, so there's my greeting, all little decorative. Now the next thing that we can do to add a bit more, I guess, dimension or layer to our project is actually popping some of our key elements up. So I might start with my largest flower here, and I'm going to pop this up with some dimensional adhesive. I'm not going to put it all around the edge because we're going to lay all this underneath it, and so I want to be able to put it in underneath itself. Let's put some liquid adhesive behind this one. We won't pop this one up. This is another way we can layer, is by adding dimensions. So you have some stuff that is down lower and some stuff that's been popped up with our dimensionals. And you want to make sure that you add like your focal element popped up, because when it's closest to you, it's going to draw your eye to it a lot sooner than the rest of your card. Let's pop this one up on dimensionals as well. And then just to add a little bit of extra dimension to my little flower, I'm just going to push the petals in. So it kind of gives it like a bit of a 3D effect. Okay, now we're finished with that layer. Let's add this now to our card base itself. Actually, you know what? I might actually pop this up with dimensionals. Okay, and we're going to add this to our card base, making sure we center it like so. And now we can add our embellishments to it just to make it pop a little bit extra. So I have some opal round gems here. So I'm going to pop some in the center of my little flowers. I'm going to put a clear one over here, put a little yellowish one next to my little greeting, put another one down there. And there we go. There is our card all finished. So just to recap, what we did is we created our card base, we matted a panel and added some white behind it just to make it pop. And then our next layer was this cluster of flowers that we have. So let me share with you a couple of other examples of how you can layer in your projects by using your cardstock. So this one right here is great for beginners. So if you're just starting out, this is the most simplest way to layer your projects. And once again, I've got pattern paper, and then I have a layer of green right underneath that to make that pattern paper pop right off my card base there. And then my green, I've layered it with white, yellow, and green as well, so that that pops as well. So that's an idea. Then this one here, what I've done this time is I've got my pattern paper panel, but then I have layered on the side here with my white cardstock and then with this pattern paper or this extra color on the side here, just so that it didn't look plain. I've just added this little layer right to the next of that. And I've also created one in landscape mode as well. The same thing with just a pattern paper as a layer there to make those pop. Then this one here is probably something slightly a little different. Instead of having them matted on top of each other, my paper, I have like swished them against each other so you can see the one at the back is kind of peeking out. It's kind of like on an angle as well. So that's another fun way that you can do. And then I have this white panel that's making my floaty flamingo pop off the back there as well. So you kind of got that little bit. And then lastly, another idea that you can do is you can layer it by the side. So I've got a pattern paper and embossed, and then my white cardstock piece right here. And these are 1 centimeter apart, these pieces right here. So there's a couple of different ways that you can add layers to your card designs. So you can add dimension and make your projects pop. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll catch you in our next video. Bye for now.